Hello, good morning all. Am I audible? Am I audible? Please type in the chat box. Hello? Okay, fine. Okay, now there are almost 40 participants, so we can start. Okay, so I welcome you all to trimester 2 of third year, that is trimester 8, and specifically for the subject digital image processing. So this is, all of you know that this is open elective. Okay, so now tell me whether the screen is visible to you. Please type yes or no. Is the screen visible? Okay, okay, good. So now we can proceed with today's lecture. So as this is open elective subject, there is no laboratory for this course or no credits for laboratory. Okay, there will be 4 lectures every week and there are 2 credits for this theory of digital image processing. So for this subject, prerequisite is signals and systems. So just tell me, have you studied these subjects, signals and systems and digital signal processing? Have you studied it in previous semesters? Okay, good. Okay, so for this open elective course, these are the course objectives. So to understand the fundamentals of digital image processing, okay, it basically covers basic relationship of pixels, what is meaning of digital image, how to process the image, etc. Second objective is learn the concepts of image enhancement in both the domains, spatial as well as frequency domain. Then to understand the concepts of image compression. And last objective is to understand and apply concepts of object segmentation. So after successfully completing the course, you will be able to implement basic mathematical operations on digital images, then analyze and solve image enhancement and filtering. Then you will be able to apply two-dimensional data compression techniques for digital images. And last outcome is you will be able to identify and design image processing techniques for object segmentation. Okay, so under this course, mainly these 5 topics are covered. 5 topics will be covered. That is fundamentals of image processing, image enhancement in spatial domain, image enhancement in frequency domain, image compression, and image segmentation. So these are details, topic by topic details. So under fundamentals of image processing, we will be studying what is a digital image, how to process the digital image, and what is basically human visual system, how the images, digital images are sensed and acquired. Then with respect to this process, there are 2 important terms, sampling and quantization. So what is meaning of sampling, quantization, and resolution of images? And we will be studying basic relationship between pixels, then distance measures, and some performance measures which are used in many real applications to test performance of the implemented system. So these are the topics under unit 1, that is fundamentals of image processing. Then this is about second unit. Under image enhancement, we will be mainly studying some point processing operations and some mask processing operations. These mask processing operations are also known as local neighborhood operations or filtering operations. So under point processing, we will be studying how we can process an image pixel by pixel. And we will be having look at various transformations like log, over law transform, piecewise linear transformations. We will be also studying about image histogram and histogram equalization, and what is importance of image histogram. And under mask processing, we will be studying some image smoothing operations and image sharpening operations. Then this third unit is dedicated for image enhancement in frequency domain. So it covers basically various filtering operations using frequency domain, and it covers various transforms. Basically, in order to process the image in frequency domain, first it is necessary to transform the image from its plane, that is image plane. It has to be transformed to Fourier domain or frequency domain. And to perform this transformation, various transforms are available like Fourier transform, cosine transform, Walsh transform, KL transform. So in under unit 3, we will be studying all these transforms. By using these transforms, how we can transform an image from spatial domain to frequency domain, and how we can filter the image or process the image in frequency domain. So these points will be covered under unit 3. And next unit is about image compression. So under this unit, we will be studying image compression models, then two broad types or categories of image compression, that is lossless compression and lossy compression. So we will be studying few techniques under both domains. And then at the end of this unit, we will be studying about image compression standards like JPEG. Then this is your last unit, that is image segmentation. Under this unit, we will be covering these topics. Mainly, again, there are two broad categories for image segmentation, like similarity-based segmentation and discontinuity-based segmentation. So we will be covering these topics under this last unit. So these are the textbooks. So all these topics are very well covered in this book by Gonzalez, Woods Gonzalez book, Digital Image Processing, third edition by Pearson Education. And all these units are also very well explained in Sridhar's book for theoretical conceptual understanding. Woods Gonzalez book is very good, and this Sridhar books you can refer for numericals. Okay, with small numericals he has explained the concepts very well. And there are many other reference books, very good tutorials are available, online tutorials for this subject. Okay. Then about practical, though this is open elective and though you don't have any credits for laboratory work, we are going to study some basic Python codes for performing some basic operations. So for every 15 days, we will be having 1 or 2 lectures which are dedicated for Python programming. Okay, so we will be having 4 to 5 practicals where we are going to write codes using OpenCV and Python for processing digital images. Okay. Okay, so with this brief introduction to syllabus, now we are going to start with today's lecture. So that is, we are going to start with very first unit, fundamentals of image processing. Okay, now before starting this unit, I like to know, as you have opted this subject, as you have selected this subject as your open elective, I think you might be having a brief background related to images, and you might have come across some applications where this real time, where this image processing is useful. So can anybody type names of few applications that you know which are related to image processing? Please type in the chat box. I'm waiting for your answers. Any application, or do you know where my image processing might be useful? Okay, I got at least 2, 3 answers. Very good, Pranav. Pranav said mask face detection. Then Sai said pixel recovery, face recognition, image blurring, and someone said MATLAB. Okay, so out of these, few are applications like face recognition. Then Wasif has mentioned driverless cars. Yes, it has very good use of computer vision technique. Okay, so face recognition, driver assistant system, these are applications of image processing. Then someone, Divyansh mentioned image blurring, enhancing images, then pixel recovery. All these are not applications of image processing, but yes, your answer is of course related to images, and these are intermediate steps that are required in any image processing application. So very good, you are giving me very good responses. That's very good. Okay, so this pixel recovery or image blurring or enhancing images, these are the steps required to build an application. Okay, and someone said MATLAB. So MATLAB is a tool which you can use to process the images. Okay, so with your answers, I just like to tell you that then Abhijit has answered remote sensing. Then Sharan has answered removing background from picture and converting it to PNG. Yes, this is also an application. So the all your answers are correct, or they are related to the answer by some means. So in order to implement these applications, you need some image processing steps. Okay, as image enhancement, removing noise, blurring the image or de-blurring the image. Okay, so in order to build an application, various image processing steps are required, and these image processing steps can be implemented using a tool like MATLAB, or it can be implemented using a tool like OpenCV and Python coding. And if you want to go for hardware, you need additional tools to convert your uh, software code to hardware like FPGA or microcontroller. You need additional tools to convert those codes to hardware. Okay. So, okay. So now whenever we are using any image processing application, we need some basic components in the system. Okay, so as you have mentioned, one of the application is face recognition. Okay, so can anybody tell me what are the main basic components to implement this face recognition system, or what are various modules required for this face recognition system or any other image processing system? Please guess what might be the various components of the system. Please guess these components and type it in the chat box. Okay, so now I'm again getting some answers like filters to remove noise. So these filters or image blurring technique or image de-blurring, sharpening the image. These are steps required in particular algorithm. These are parts of your algorithm. Now just think a system in a broader sense. What are the various components? Yes, I got very correct answer by Pradnesh Dev. Camera, yes, very first component, that is camera. Okay, so for any image processing of application, you need a camera or digital camera, or in a broader sense, we can call this as image acquisition system, right? So very first component that you need in your uh, any image processing application is image acquisition system. Okay, so this is very correct answer. Now tell me what might be the next components. So with digital camera, you can acquire the image. Okay, so you can get the image in digital format. So you need a camera. If it is analog camera, you need a separate device to convert it to digital form. Okay. So camera along with this analog to digital conversion, it's a first component of your system. Okay. This is your first component. What might be the next component? Please, uh, do not hesitate to give answers. Though it is wrong, doesn't matter. At least try to guess what might be additional components in your system for image processing applications. Okay, image sensor, very good, Sharan. Your answer is correct. So image sensor is part of camera. Okay, so if we talk about various components inside the camera, of course, you need image sensors, some type like CCD sensors or some optic. It also involves some optics along with sensors. Okay, there are various types of sensors. We are going to study them in maybe in next lecture. Okay, so what might be the next component of your system? After acquiring the image using image sensors, then analog to digital converter, some optical system, you are getting digital image output. Okay, so after that, what might be the next component? A component, so Manas has answered, a component which can compare the face recognized with the one saved in the database. Okay, so this is very correct, Manas. So what is that component? In day-to-day life, you are using that component. Yes, Sai, your answer is correct. You need some storage system. Okay, so you need some storage device to store your data, capture data, and even for storing processed data, you need some storage. So this is one of the component. Then Manas, can you elaborate it further, or can you give me name of this component which can apply some algorithm on your acquired image? Okay, and it for storage, for saving the data, you need some storage like for permanent storage, you need hard disk or USB device you can use, or many other devices you can use for storage, for permanent storage. So as Manas said, a component which can compare the face recognized with the one saved, you need some microcontroller or you need some computer which has microprocessor or which has some processing capability, right? So this is one important component in your image processing system. It is either a computer or you can use a microcontroller, okay, or some other hardware like FPGA or SoC, okay. So you need some platform or hardware with some software capability to process your data which was acquired by image acquisition system. Okay, so these three are the main components of your image processing system. And along with that, once the image is processed, according to application, you need one more component. Either you need a printer if you want some hard copy of the processed image. If it is an application related to transmission, you need some modem to transmit your data. Okay. And if you want to record it using recorder, you need some recorder. Or based on the image contents, if you want to take certain decision, like whether to accept the object or reject the object, you need some control mechanism in your system. Okay, so these are few additional components required in your image processing system. Okay, let me erase this. Okay. Okay, so let us go to the block schematic of various components in image processing system. So as you can observe on this slide, this frog is nothing but an object for which we want to capture the image. So in order to capture image of the object of interest, we need some imaging system. Okay, so this imaging system along with sampling and quantization, this can be your camera or any other image acquisition system. Okay, then you need some storage to store the acquired data. Then next component, that is digital computer. So this digital computer is a term used here in a broader sense. It can be either a microcontroller or microprocessor system or some any other hardware based system which has some programming capability, or it can be your desktop machine. Okay, so this is your digital computer which has some processing capacity. And once the image is processed by using algorithms which are stored here, which are implemented with the help of digital computer. So these processed images, they are either transmitted to some application using some online buffer, or you can display the images on some monitor or high resolution displays. Okay, so in medical applications, usually the processed image is displayed, or many other applications, they need a display to display the processed image. And for certain application, you need record of this processed image. So you can use again here some permanent storage to store the processed images. Okay. So hope till uh, all these components are clear to you. If you have any queries, please type in the chat box. You can interrupt me at any time. Put your questions. It is better to put your questions in the chat box. Okay. So first component of your system is imaging system. So you have some object that is to be captured by your imaging system. Now this object has to be well illuminated. So you can have sun as natural illumination source. If that light is not sufficient, you can have some artificial system for illuminating the object. then the image is captured by your imaging system, and this image is stored in a digital format as shown here. Okay, so if this is analog device, it is necessary to convert this analog image signal to digital signal. We will be studying it in more detail in next lectures. Okay, so here what is important is, under image processing, we are dealing with these digitally stored image for the subject that we are going to study throughout this trimester. We will be dealing with these digital images. Okay, so your object is real object. So this is your three-dimensional object, and what we are processing is two-dimensional data, or we can say we are simply considering projection of this real 3D object on a two-dimensional plane. We are dealing with only with the two-dimensional projection of 3D image. Okay, so there is one question. Is the digital image 2D? Yes, Sharon. So as shown here, this is there are two dimensions. One dimension is x coordinate. Okay, another dimension is y coordinate, and corresponding to every coordinate you have some intensity value for, or pixel gray value for every pixel in this image plane. Okay, so your x coordinate and y coordinate that decides actual location of every data point in the image, and this every small discrete data point is known as a pixel. Is it clear, Sharan? So these are the two dimensions, x coordinate and y coordinate. And actually that intensity value or pixel value is third dimension. So you can also represent this image in 3D, where third dimension simply represents amplitude of the image. But as far as storage is considered, or as far as your display is considered, we can say this digital image is a two-dimensional signal, because from storage point of view, your x coordinate and y coordinate that will indicate actual row number and column number of your memory module, and every location from the memory will give you value of the pixel or discrete point of the image. For display, we can say this is x coordinate, y coordinate, and every data point represents some intensity value. And basically, we are considering two-dimensional projection of real object. Okay, so this is about what is basic digital image, and we are not dealing actually with computer vision, because when we say vision, it means you are processing a 3D object, or when we say in a broader sense, when we say computer vision gives you idea of real object. Okay, so like our eye, human eye can capture 3D data. Why this is possible? Because human eye has stereo vision. See, if you have a three-dimensional object, in order to get an idea about all the dimensions, you need to capture the image, say from front side, then you should have one more camera to capture the image from as images, to capture object side view. Okay, so if you have multiple cameras, then only you can get real idea of the object. Okay, so like our eyes, they can capture the images of one particular object with two cameras. Our two eyes are two cameras, and a human can capture the image at various angles, because we can rotate our eyes at different angles to capture the images from various angles, and those all those images are combined uh, at visual sensory organ, or visual cortex of human brain, and then it gives us idea of 3D 3D object, okay, or it gives us idea of real object, okay. But in this digital image processing subject is related, or it is limited to 2D projections, okay. So under this course we will be dealing only with projections of real objects, okay. We won't be talking about depth parameter or actual shape of the object, okay. We are going to deal only with 2D projections of real object. Hope you are getting the difference between real object and 2D projections, and about the scope of this particular subject, okay. So if you have any query, please type in the chat box. Okay. So this our digital image we can represent by a function, say fxy, where x represents x coordinate and y represents y coordinate, and fxy is nothing but intensity value of every pixel at at coordinates x and y, okay. So your digital image is a two-dimensional function. X and Y are spatial coordinates, and the amplitude of F is called as intensity or gray level at point X1. Okay, so is it clear? What do you mean by digital image? So digital image is array of pixels, okay, and every pixel has some value, and every pixel can be accessed by its x coordinate value and y coordinate value, and f of xy, that is nothing but intensity level of the pixel. For monochrome images, it gives you gray level. Instead of intensity, we can call it as gray level, okay. Then about digital image processing. So this is our image fxy. We can process this image for various imaging applications. Now these processes are broadly classified into three groups: low level processing, mid level processing, and high level processing. So low level processing means we process the image and it gives you output as another image, okay. So input and output both are images for low level processing. For mid level processing, outputs are attributes extracted from input images. So for mid level processing, input is an image and output is either an image, or most of the time it is attribute or certain features that you are extracting from the image. And third, that is high level, that is an ensemble of recognition of individual objects. So high level processing mainly deals with understanding the image or recognizing the image. So if we consider an application of character recognition, so in that you will be having some digitized text document. So the process of removing noise from the text document and sharpening the characters, that comes under low level image processing, okay. So first, say from the captured image we process the image for removing noise, and if characters are not sharp, we can apply some image sharpening technique and we get another processed image. So this preliminary operation is low level image processing. Then second is mid level. So for character recognition application, next steps, that is uh, segmenting the characters from the document, that comes under mid level processing. So we can segment the characters and try to represent those characters with some important features. So that is mid-level processing. And third is understanding those that text. Okay, once we recognize the characters, we can uh, for the group of from the group of characters, we try to understand its meaning. Okay, so that is your high level processing. Okay, so again, under this subject we will be mainly dealing with low level processing, and under image segmentation and recognition we will be dealing with high level image processing. So your first 3 units are mainly related to low level image processing, where your input as well as output is an image. Okay. So this is representation of digital image. Okay, so you can represent an image fxy as array or two-dimensional array with size m by n, and f00 represents pixel at location 00, then 01 up to n minus 1. Okay, so there are n number of columns and m number of rows, and hence the size of the array is m by n. Okay. The same thing you can represent it in another format as shown here, A0001, etc. So A00 is nothing but f of 0, 0. Okay. So these are representations of digital image. Okay. Now, in order to represent digital images, basically, we need some storage, or we need some number of bits. Now, if I am using, say, 4 bits to represent a pixel of an image. Okay. So if I'm using 4 bits, there will be total 2 raised to 4 number of gray levels, which you can have for that image. So 2 raised to 4 gives you 60. So if I'm using 4 bits to represent a pixel value, total I can have 16 gray levels. Okay. Now say if I use 3 bits to represent 1 pixel, how many intensity levels are possible, or what is value of L if I am using 3 bits? Please type your answer. If I'm using 3 bits to represent every pixel in the given image, yes, Aryan, yes, Gargi, your answers are correct. If there are 3 bits, 2 raised to 3 means there are total 8 gray levels. It is simply 2 raised to 3. Okay, 8 gray levels, and those 8 gray levels can range from 0 to 7. 0 represents black, and 7 represents white, or maximum possible intensity value. Okay. Now, if I use only 1 bit for every pixel, in that case, 2 raised to 1 means you have only 2 gray levels. And in that case, your bit can take either value 0 or 1. And for these images, we call these images as binary images. Okay. For binary images, there is only 1 bit per pixel. Okay. And if I use 8 bits per pixel, how many intensity levels are possible? How many gray levels we can represent? If K is 8, if K is 8, means I'm using 8 bits per pixel. Please type your answer in the chat box. Okay, so it is Sanidhya, your answer is correct. If K is 8, 2 raised to 8 gives us 256. So there are total 256 gray values which are in the range 0 to 255. 0 represents black and 255 represents complete white shade or maximum bright level, and between 0 to 255 whatever numbers are there, they will represent intermediate gray values. Okay, so 0 represents black, 255 represents white, and all the intermediate numbers, they represent various gray values. As you move from 0 to 255, you will get greater and greater intensity value. Okay, or it is brighter than the lower values. Okay. So if now for particular image, if image size is m by n, total number of bits required to represent that image is b is equal to m into n into k, where m is the number of rows, n is number of columns in the image, and k represents number of bits for every pixel, number of bits used to represent a pixel. So if your image size is m by n, total number of pixels are m into n. And if you are using k number of bits to represent each pixel, there will be m into n into k number of bits are required to represent your image. Okay, so if your image size m by n is say 10, and if you are using 8 bits per pixel, in that case, how many total number of bits are required to represent the image? If image m is 10, n is 10, and number of bits per pixel is 8. How many bits are required to store the image? Please type your answer. Yes, very good, Sharon, Pranav. If you are using, if we assume that image size is 10 by 10, total 100 pixels are there, 10 into 10, 100 pixels. And if we are using 8 bits to represent every pixel, we need total 800. We need 800 bits. And if I ask you another question, if your image size is 10 by 10, then how many number of bytes are required to store the image? How many number of bytes are required to represent the image? How many bytes? Sharon, your answer is wrong. Your image size is 10 cross 10. Yes, Vasif, your answer is correct. So if we compute the storage in terms of bytes instead of byte, you will get 10 into 10, that is 100 bytes. Okay, Nishank, Vasif, your answers are correct. So 1 byte represents 8 bits. Okay, so if we are saying we are using 8 bits per pixel, then for 10 by 10 image, we need 100 bytes. Very good. Okay. So this is a table which represents number of storage bits for various values of n and k. Here image size is assumed as square. N is 32 means image size is 32 by 32. M and n are same. Okay, and k represents number of bits. So with this table, you can get an idea that any image processing application requires huge amount of storage, right? When your image size is 32 by 32, and if you are using 1 byte or 8 bits per pixel, you need 8192 bits to store that image. And if image size increases from 32 to 64, here you can observe large number of bits are needed to store the image. And when the image size is very large, like 8192 by 8192, you need 536870912 number of bits to store that image. Okay. So as your image, single image needs large amount of storage, for any imaging based system or computer vision system needs huge storage. And that's why image compression is very, very important, so that with image compression you can achieve reduction in number of bytes or number of bits required to represent the image. Okay. Okay, now any question? Okay. Okay, so there are main three types of images, as you can observe in this picture. This first one is binary image, means how many bits are used to represent each pixel. Please type your answer. Very first type is binary image. Aryan, how many bits are required to represent each pixel? 2 is number of levels. Whatever your answer you have given, Aryan and Sharan. 2 is number of levels, means you can have either 0 value or 1 value. Okay. And in order to represent either 0 or 1, you need only 1 bit. Yes, Sanidhya. For binary image, we need 1 bit per pixel. With that, 1 bit can take value either 0 or 1. So here, this very first image is an example of binary image. Now, if you look at top of the image, almost all these pixels are white. So they are taking value 1. Wherever there is black, its value is 0. So the pixel corresponding to black area in this image, it takes value of 0, and white area, all these pixels in white area, they take value 1. Okay. So for binary images, we are using only 1 bit per pixel. So this is binary image. Now, if you look at this second picture, this is an example of monochrome image. Okay. So in monochrome image, your pixel can take various values between 0 to some maximum intensity level, which is L minus 1. So if we are using 8 bits per pixel, maximum intensity value is 255 and minimum value is 0. So the brightest point, so if you look here or here or here, this is complete white. This pixels corresponding to this, its value is 255, and some darkest points, as if you look here, this is complete black, this value is 0. And if you look at these trees, they are taking some dark gray shades. If you look at these mountains, these values are brighter than these shades. If you look here on the floor, on the ground, where there is lots of light, these values are almost white, or they are very bright gray values, say above 250 or close to 255. These are some dark shades which are which are having lower values between say 0 to 80, and these are some bright gray values in the range say 150 to 200. Okay, so this is your monochrome image. For monochrome image, usually 8 bits per pixel are used. Okay, and all the values between 0 to 255, they represent various gray values. Okay, so this binary image we can call as special case of monochrome image. For monochrome image, if we use simply 1 bit per pixel, we get binary image. Okay, so this is your binary image. This is monochrome image. Now, if you look at this third picture, it has various color components. Okay, now whenever you are having a color image, it it takes format of RGB, means every pixel has some color, and that color is represented by three basic color components: red, green, and blue. And to represent every color component, usually 8 bits are used. Okay, so for red component, 1 byte is used. For green component, 1 byte is used, and for blue component, 1 byte is used. And according to actual value of red, green, and blue, you can get various color shades. Okay, so we will be studying this in detail afterwards. At this stage, I think you are clear with these three basic types: binary image, monochrome image, and color image. For color image, you need 3 times storage as compared to gray shade image, because for gray shade we don't have color component. For color image, you need to represent each pixel in terms of red component, green component, and blue component, and that's why it needs 3 times storage as compared to storage for monochrome image. Okay. Okay, so basically, there are 3 types of images. For binary image, we need 1 bit per point. For monochrome images, we need some, say, k number of bits per pixel. Usually, it is 8 bits per pixel for monochrome images. And for color images, we need red, green, and blue components, 3 components. There is also one more type. There are 4 samples. So that that fourth component is alpha component. So that fourth component might be useful to give you an idea about depth parameter. Okay, but in our syllabus, we will be dealing with either monochrome images and color images, and for most of the topics, most of the units, we will be dealing with monochrome images or grayscale images. Okay. Okay. So now let us have a look at what do you mean by image processing. So processing an image means we try to modify pixel value so that it becomes suitable for some application. Okay, so an image processing operation typically defines a new image G in terms of an existing image F. So basically, we process the image means we apply some function T on the given image fx1. Okay, now how we can apply this function, that varies from type to type. And what is this function? It depends again on specific class or type of image processing technique. Okay, so we can transform the original image fx1 by applying a function t on it to get a processed image gx1. Okay, so when we process this fxy pixel by pixel, it is known as point processing. Means we apply a function t on each and every pixel, individual pixel, then in that case, it is known as point processing. And when we apply the function on some local neighborhood, along with the pixel under consideration, we take into account some neighborhood of the pixel. In that case, this technique is known as mask processing. Okay. Again, we will be studying further details afterwards. Okay. So this is meaning of image processing. Means we modify those pixel values from the original image by applying some function t to get a processed image gxy. Okay, we talked about this low level image processing operation, mid level image processing, and high level image processing operations. Okay, now in order to process the image, there are various steps or various classes of image processing. So like image enhancement, restoration, morphological processing, segmentation, object recognition, then object representation and description, image compression, and color image processing. So I think we will start with these different types of image processing in tomorrow's lecture. For today, before leaving, if you have any query, you can ask, and please type your roll number, ECE, followed by your 3-digit number. If it is 2-digit, please write it as 0 followed by actual digit, and then type your name for the attendance. So as I have typed it in the chat box, I request all of you to type your roll number and name in the given format so that I can mark your attendance for today's lecture. Don't do you know your ECE number, or you know only PA, your number in this format, PAPB? Please tell me. Unmute and answer. Okay, you know only PA. Then in that case, don't write ECE, simply type PA, then your number, okay, and then your name, space, and then your name. Okay. So do you have any query? Okay, so hope these basic things are clear to you. We will be going to more interesting things from the next lecture. Thank you all. Have a good day. Thank you. Please don't forget to type your roll number and name.